New cases of COVID-19 in the state of Ohio. That is the biggest spike we have seen in quite some time. Which part of the state is seeing the biggest increase, and why the sudden spike?
Plus developments in the murder of a teen. What police are saying about Na'kia Crawford's death. Cleaning up Cleveland, murals are now replacing broken windows shattered during protests. Say it isn't so. There's a chance there won't be any football this fall. Who's saying it and why?
No matter where you're at in life, you can change and be great.
He's just a dad from Akron who's turned his life around. Now, he's dedicated to improving the lives of many in his community. We'll meet him straight ahead on What's New, which starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Hi, everybody. How are you today? It is Thursday, Friday Eve, as we like to call it. Welcome to What's New. I'm Betsy Kling with Jay Crawford. And Jay, we have had a very busy news day today. You want to start us off with the latest on the coronavirus?
We certainly have, Betsy, and I will. Very good to be with everyone again. The numbers on the coronavirus are out, and they are not good. 700 new cases of the coronavirus reported in our most recent 24-hour window, and you can see from our graph there, that is a significant jump from yesterday's cases. It is also a 38% increase from our 21-day average. The last time Ohio reported 700 or more cases in a single day, exactly 4 weeks ago today, back on May 21st. Let's bring in Laura Queso now. Laura, I know that you listened to the governor's entire news briefing today. What did he say about the spike? What happened?
Well, Jay, the governor says the large spikes are not happening here, but happening in the Dayton and Cincinnati areas. So Southwest Ohio really being affected here. With that said, Jay, the governor is planning to bring in the National Guard and increase testing in those areas, going on to say he'd like everyone in zip codes where there's a spike to get tested if they can. As of now, none of those zip codes are in Northeast Ohio. This increased testing, though, will continue in other regions that see spikes. Another spike we've seen is in children. Governor DeWine actually brought in Dr. Amy Edwards of Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital to talk about COVID and kids. She says in the last few weeks, they've seen a 5 to 6% increase in COVID in children.
What we've really been seeing recently is an increase in the percent of tests that are coming back positive, particularly in symptomatic children, meaning that for kids who have symptoms of a respiratory viral disease, a larger percent of them are coronavirus than earlier in the pandemic.
Now, that also means hospital admissions for kids are up. As for PPE, the governor said there are now PPE stockpiles in hospitals throughout the state, and they can be distributed to facilities that really need them throughout the state as well, Jay.
All right, Laura, we'll keep an eye on those numbers. Certainly not good today, and we'll see you at 6 o'clock. Betsy?
Well, as we mentioned, this is the highest spike in cases in almost a month. So what does it mean? Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, is keeping an eye on all of this. She's here to help us sort it all out. And Monica, I can't help but think that you're kind of having a I told you so moment, but were you surprised to hear about this spike in the cases?
Betsy, you know me, and no, not at all, unfortunately. This times out with the timing of Memorial Day, the protests we saw at the end of last month, as well as many of the restrictions lifting. And we've seen a lot of people gathering and not practicing the safety guidelines. And health experts predicted we would see a jump in cases because of that. So no, this is not surprising at all, but it is good to see that at least here in Northeast Ohio, there's not a significant jump yet, but don't be surprised if we do see one.
Okay, so we've had a jump today. This is kind of new. Does this indicate a new trend? Could this be the beginning of the, second wave that we've been hearing about?
You know, even though cases have been declining, we've really been on a plateau. So many health experts, including Dr. Fauci, believe this is just a continuation of the first wave. And the models we've seen from the state and Metro Health indicated we would be seeing clusters of increased cases. And I believe when we see a significant decline over at least a 2-week period nationwide, then we can say we finally finished this wave. As for a second wave, though, we're watching what's happening in the southern hemisphere. They're entering its fall and winter months and flu season combined with COVID-19. That may give us an indication of what we may expect when the second wave hits. And there's a recent study that says if at least 80% of the population practices those safety guidelines of masks and distancing, we could lower the infection rate to just 8%, which would be really helpful now and when the weather gets colder and we're all close to each other again, Bets.
Well, we just kind of have to stay the course, stay protected, protect your family as best you can, and we'll kind of keep an eye on it and keep everybody informed. Thanks, Monica. Jay?
Yep.
Betsy, new at 5. A short while ago, Akron police identified 3 suspects linked to the murder of 18-year-old Na'kia Crawford. Tiffany Tarpley joins us now live from the scene of the murder. Tiffany, police are currently searching for 2 of those suspects. What more can you tell us?
Well, Jay Crawford, they issued arrest warrants for those 2 suspects. They say that a third will be in custody soon and is cooperating. We are at the intersection where Na'kia was shot. She was in a car at a red light with her grandmother when a car pulled up and shot her. You can see this makeshift memorial here. It continues to grow. I can tell you even right now, family and friends are here behind our cameras, just gathering, holding each other. But this case, as you know, has received national attention, including calls for justice from LeBron James. Police have identified the suspect. 17-year-old Adarius Black is on the run. He is facing a murder charge. 24-year-old Janisha George also not in custody. She's facing obstruction charges. And so is 18-year-old Jayon Bivens, who police say is cooperating. We're also told that it was police work, surveillance images that led detectives to the getaway car, which was found in Cleveland, and they were able to piece all of this together.
Right now, it appears that this was a case of mistaken identity, that Na'kia Crawford was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That was the most heartbreaking moment, the most heart-sinking moment in that news conference today, the moment that we learned that Na'kia Crawford was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, Jay, that this was a case of mistaken identity. As you know, there is a $50,000 reward in connection with this case. It's unclear what's going to happen with this money, but this community, so far it seems they are pleased to hear news of suspects in this case. LeBron James just recently tweeting as well that this is music to his ears.
Excellent police work to come up with the suspect so quickly. Tiffany, thank you very much. Betsy.
Well, the big news just keeps on coming. Russ Mitchell's following the latest over at the news desk. Of course, you'll have more at 6 on this, but the Supreme Court making a big determination.
That is true, Betsy. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to you at home. As Betsy said, the Supreme Court has ruled President Trump cannot end legal protections for immigrants who were brought here illegally as children by their parents. The court ruled 5-4 that the federal government failed to give an adequate justification for ending the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA. It allowed nearly 800,000 brought here under the age of 16 to stay and avoid deportation. Facebook has removed ads for the president's re-election campaign, saying they violate the company's policies on hate. The ads include what the president calls dangerous mobs of far-left groups, and they feature an upside-down triangle. You see it there. The Anti-Defamation League says the triangle is nearly identical to one used by Nazis to identify political prisoners in concentration camps. And here is your first look inside the Jack Casino downtown, which will reopen tomorrow at 6 a.m. along with Thistledown Racino. Both locations have new safety procedures in place. They will operate at 50% capacity. Other restrictions will be in place as well. And Betsy, no doubt, will have her quarters at 5:30 a.m. down there waiting for those doors to open.
Can you imagine the first thing in the morning, get right out to that casino?
Oh, yeah.
You're there waiting for him with the everything ready to go.
That's true. I remember that opened a few years ago. We all went down there, and you were the only one who won, if memory serves me correctly.
Let's put it all into perspective, Russ Mitchell. Remember, it was a penny slot.
It was a penny slot. I do remember that.
I think I won $5. It was the greatest day ever. So
$5 more than I won, my friend.
All right, but let's toss it over to Jay now. Thanks, Russ.
All right, Betsy's now and forever going to be known as Lady Luck. after that. Sports fans chomping at the bit to watch their favorite teams play again. We know that the NBA, of course, is preparing to restart their season next month, and Major League Baseball is, we're told, said to be nearing an agreement as well. As for football, the league is acting as if everything is on track. But is it? Dr. Anthony Fauci has other ideas. Today on CNN, Fauci said, quote, unless players are essentially in a bubble, insulated from the community, and they're tested nearly every day, it would be very hard to see how football is able to be played this fall. Those words made many Americans gasp when they heard them. He added that a second wave of coronavirus is possible this fall, which mixed with flu season would make it difficult to see how football could be played. Let's bring in Nick Camino, 3 News sports anchor right now, to talk about this. Nick, we've both been watching and waiting to see what the NFL is going to do here. What do things look like at this point?
Well, Jay, to me, I think this is just so difficult to project. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. I mean, we're in a pandemic, and it is just so unprecedented at this time. So we've obviously got to listen to the medical folks. I think from a sports point of view, what we've known and what we've heard through all of these medical professionals so far is that one big key, testing, and more testing. You got to have the testing available. Also, these bubble cities that we've heard about, these different bubbles that have been tossed out where everybody that's going to be competing with each other is encapsulated in the same exact place. We've seen on the PGA, now it's only been back for 2 weeks, but the PGA Tour's been back. They've gone through 958 tests over the last 2 weeks. They have not had one positive test for coronavirus. But why? You've got no fans in the stands. You've got everybody together in one place. A lot of them are flying on the same airplanes, and you've got family and golf personnel that are out there. So for the PGA, it's been effective so far. But again, it's only been 2 weeks here, Jay. So this is a really tricky spot that football is going to be in. There were already reports that we've seen that the NFL could lose $5.5 billion if fans are not at the games. So how does the NFL play this? I think what the NFL and college football have had the benefit of so far, and you know this too, Jay, is that we haven't had their seasons yet. You know, the NBA's already been affected. March Madness has already been canceled. Baseball's already starting late. So what do you do here when it comes to the NFL? They have yet to answer that question for us.
Yeah, they have. You're right. And it's not just the NFL. We know college football also takes place in the fall. And today we've learned that 13 players from the University of Texas football team have tested positive now for the coronavirus. That news is going to shake up the possibility of a college football season come late August. Nick Camino, thanks. We'll continue to keep an eye on this and keep our fans informed because I know everybody is interested about the football season. Ahead on What's New, how LeBron inspired an Akron dad not only to be a better person, but to make his community a better place as well. What one man is doing to help his fellow Akron residents. It's a great story. And for now, contact sports in Ohio are a go. When kids can start playing football again here. That's ahead. Betsy, how's the weather looking?
Well, it's another summer afternoon in Northeast Ohio. You can see that rain and cloud mix kind of swirling off to the south of us. That's been the driving force of our forecast. That is going to be changing, however, in the next couple days. I'll explain what all of that means straight ahead.
welcome back to What's New. Father's Day is, of course, this Sunday. That's the time the man we call Dad gets a huge honor. Danielle Wiggins has the story of a local father who's working to turn just being a dad from Akron into both a business and a movement of giving back.
The power of clothing as a statement. For these men, the message being communicated, taking pride in just being a dad.
Like this light bulb just went off in my head, and it was like God telling me, just a dad from Akron.
Kenny Lambert, who grew up in Akron's Kenmore neighborhood, launched the company Just a Dad from Akron this past March to spread the message that
no matter where you're at in life, you can change and be great.
Lambert would know. He says 2 years ago he was homeless, had nothing, and was addicted to drugs and alcohol.
I was just tired of the way I was living, and I knew my daughter, she deserved a better father than the person I was at the time. My daughter was one of the main reasons and helped save my life.
As he walks out his recovery, Lambert wants Just a Dad from Akron to not just be a clothing line, but a movement that empowers people in Akron to be the change they want to see.
We're going to give away some free money.
He uses the profit from his sales to give back to the people living in the community he loves.
Us being so stubborn, we haven't really asked anybody for any help.
Andrew Tepis, a business owner and married father of 4, knew Lambert from childhood, but was only recently reconnected with him through social media.
And it was just really cool to see someone that I went to school with 10 years later doing good.
So Lambert showed up to Tepis's house with a shirt and a TV. The gifts to honor him as the first dad of the month for Lambert's company.
No one's really done anything like that for us, especially with the circumstances going on.
You see, Tepis is doing this interview from his son's hospital room, a 7-year-old who was diagnosed with cancer at the same time Lambert started Just a Dad from Akron.
Being a dad, sometimes you feel like you're doing all this hard work and you feel like you just hit a wall sometimes. It's just nice sometimes to get a pat on the back or someone to say, keep it up, you're doing a good job.
Kenny's done more than just, brought us a TV and a t-shirt. He's more, helped our faith with knowing that people are out there to help.
I just want to inspire people to be a better person, to be the change that Akron needs.
Just a Dad from Akron is a play off, of course, Just a Kid from Akron. That's the slogan that LeBron James made very famous. Lambert said he grew up watching LeBron grow up to be a great basketball player and dad. He wants to follow James' example of being a present dad while giving back to the Akron community. Time to check on weather. Betsy pulling that double duty today, working as hard as ever. Betsy, you're watching the skies for rain, and I know you don't take requests, but man, could we use some here in Chagrin Falls. It's dusty out there.
Jay, this is where we always have fun discussions. This is the discussion that people don't get to see because it's always off camera during commercial break. You always want what is not happening right now.
That's true. I do. And it's not that I want it. I need it right now, Betsy.
Get out there and do some watering. Come on.
I have nonstop. It's not enough.
We do need the rain. And we have a little bit of rain that is in the forecast. That's the good news. Here's a look at how things are going to trend over the next 12 hours. Up here in Cleveland, we have a beautiful afternoon and evening happening. Partly cloudy skies. We did have a few pops earlier, a few isolated showers. Those faded away. A lot of the rain has been to the south of us. As a matter of fact, now there's a severe thunderstorm warning west of Mansfield. This is Crawford County, way out by Bucyrus. But for the most part, you can see it's just an isolated rain chance. Here's our few little blips that we've had coming and going up here closer to the lake. But farther south, you get closer to an upper level storm system. I'll show you in just a minute. And that helps to generate these showers. So we do have a few storms to talk about. Here's one that is just headed into Wayne County, out around the Doylestown area, maybe clipping into Orrville. Farther south into portions of Tuscarawas County, Sugar Creek, back into Dover, New Philadelphia, north of Naden Nutton there. And then west of Mansfield, it looks like your thunderstorms have finally moved out. These really put down a lot of rain down around the Loudonville area in southern Ashland County, but all of that continues to move westbound, so you'll get a little bit of a break in the rain action. Temperatures are right now in the 70s where it's been raining and in the 80s elsewhere. And you can see the winds here that are also plotted. It looks a little crazy. Remember, the wind is trying to navigate with and around the thunderstorms as they've been popping up. All of us, though, definitely feeling a little more humid today, and I think the humidity is here to stay for a while. The dew that forms on the grass in the morning is actually good. That's one form of precipitation for your plants, so there's that. But there's our upper level storm system. You can kind of see it rotating here over West Virginia. This will eventually, here in the next 48 hours, begin to dissipate. It'll start to fill in the atmosphere. Basically, literally, it fills up with air going the other direction and begins to move out. Just about the time we're going to have more active weather moving in from the west, so it's kind of that 1-2 kind of thing. National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast shows our scattered shower chances fading as we get into nighttime cooling. Temperatures are going to be in the 60s at midnight. We'll go upper 50s pre-dawn, and then I think 60s will be really the lows for tomorrow morning as partly cloudy skies will start your day. We'll have some pop-up shower and storm chances tomorrow, just like we had today, so keep that in mind if you have any outdoor plans. Don't forget, we have our interactive radar in our WKYC app. It is a super handy tool when you're on the road or on the go to keep an eye on things. Universal Windows Direct Forecast, there you see it, low 80s tomorrow. Summer officially starts at 5:43 p.m. on Saturday, Jay, and Sunday will not disappoint. It's Father's Day, and we are expecting temperatures up near 90. That'll help to pop up a few storms, and we'll hold on to rain and rumble chances as we head through the good part of the early part of next week. Jay?
All right, very good. Next on What's New, if you plan on heading into downtown Cleveland soon, things may look a little bit different. Brandon Simmons will tell us about these murals that are brightening up the damage left behind by the protests.
Welcome back, everyone, to What's New. Here's a live look now at the Cleveland APL as our Forget Me Not telethon continues tonight. We're looking to help raise money for pet adoptions. Now, there's several ways that you can donate. You can do it by text, online, or by phone. number's on the screen, so call in now or anytime before 7:30 tonight. You can pledge and help our furry friends. Well, it's time now to check on what has been clicking in Cleveland. Brandon Simmons is in for Stephanie today. And Brandon, there are some pretty cool murals that have been popping up in downtown Cleveland.
Yeah, you're right about that. And those murals are going up very, very fast. Downtown Cleveland Alliance and artists from all around the city are coming together for a project called Voices of Kling. Local artists are starting by painting murals on some of the buildings that were vandalized following protests a few weeks back. Now, this is Rebel that sits on Public Square downtown, being painted by Clevelander Glenn Infante. The project not only helps beautify Cleveland, but also allows the artists to tell a story and spark change.
Artists are eager to use their voice and this platform to express themselves in this time. This is a emotional time, a sensitive time, and all the organizers at the table, are trying to be really intentional about doing this right.
Now, this is the first project of many, and when Rebel does decide to reopen, organizers plan to find a permanent home for the art displays. Now, artists and businesses who are willing to participate in this public art project should go to voicesofklee.com. Now, tomorrow is Juneteenth, and it marks the end of slavery in the U.S., and there are several events taking place to honor that day. A couple I'd like to point out. There will be a Black Lives Matter toddler march at Euclid Creek Metro Park starting at 11 o'clock. The Karamu House will debut an original performance called Freedom on Juneteenth, and that's at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and it will be streamed on many platforms, including Facebook, featuring musicians, vocalists, artists, and dancers, and you can find that full list on our website, wkyc.com. Now, and we also have some good news for kids. Contact sports will be allowed to start again on June 22nd. Lieutenant Governor John Husted said today that this applies to all remaining sports in the state, including football, basketball, and lacrosse. I'm telling you, Betsy, I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that one because we've been missing out on our sports. I've said that plenty of times. I hope we get back to them very, very soon.
Yeah, we're running out of options for backyard games that are still fun, so we need them to find some new friends to play with, certainly. Brandon, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. Well, still ahead, we have a heartwarming reunion to tell you about.
He's looking.
Oh, it's how a dog and his mom were reunited after 2 years apart. Plus, Brandon's back to tell us why actress Bryce Dallas Howard says she would not sign on to act in the movie The Help if she was offered the project again. And NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams joins us live to talk about the Supreme Court's ruling against President Trump's bid to end the DACA program. We'll be right back.
You bet. All righty. Now, do I go back to the other thing?
Yeah, real quick, because I think you're right on time. There we go.
Hello. Hello, I do. Yes, sir.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
We're getting there, inching towards the weekend, another step closer. Happy Thursday afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for choosing What's New. I'm Jay Crawford, Betsy Kling, back in the studio. And Betsy, it is time for you to tell us something good.
All right, Jay, have you heard of the Getty Museum Challenge?
Is that where people try to recreate a famous piece of art by just stuff they have in their house?
Exactly. All right. So the museum put out this challenge. You may have seen it on social media like Jay did, asking people to recreate their favorite art using just 3 objects lying around their house. Some of them got very elaborate, but the city dogs of Cleveland are using the challenge to help get their dogs adopted. This is brilliant. Here's one of their dogs. So the left side is the piece of art, and on the right is Bentley, recreating it and showing he can be a good friend. What a good boy. And they say he's sweet and low-key, weighs about 60 pounds. He's about 4 or 5, and obviously he's pretty photogenic. All right, here's one more. In this painting, the dog is patiently waiting for a piece of pizza, and in real life, Denali is a sweet, mild-mannered dog and may or may not be waiting for some people food to drop. Now, they have several more on their Twitter page, Jay, and there's such a cute little way to do it. A lot of families are taking part in that, too.
I think that's a great idea to draw attention to it, and there's no better cause. Really cool.
I agree.
Okay, time now for our top talker here at 5:30, a ruling on a hotly debated issue. Today, the Supreme Court rejected President Trump's bid to end the DACA program, which protects 650,000 young immigrants here in the United States. NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams joins us live now from Washington to talk about it. Pete, good to see you. How did the Supreme Court reach their decision?
Well, what they did is they looked at how the Trump administration tried to shut DACA down. Now, remember, it was started in 2012 by President Obama. This was not an act of Congress. This was an executive order from the president. And everyone agreed that if President Trump wanted to end the program, he could have issued an executive order of his own to stop it. But he chose not to do that. Instead, the administration basically said, well, we had no choice. The Justice Department under Jeff Sessions and the Trump administration said it's illegal. The Department of Homeland Security then wrote a memo on why they were going to shut it down and what the consequences of that would be. And that's what the Supreme Court said was the failure of the Trump administration, that under a federal law, when you have a program like this that hundreds of thousands of people depend on, you have to do a more thorough examination of what the consequences would be of ending it. And that's where they said the Trump administration failed. So, Jay, this is not a ruling about DACA. This is a ruling about how the Trump administration tried to shut it down. And it does leave the door open, if the Trump administration wants to try to shut it down again.
DACA participants, Pete, have had to reapply every 2 years to stay in the U.S. What does today's decision do for future reapplications? Will that continue, or does that change at all?
So the thing to think about is today changes nothing in terms of how DACA works. Remember, the government tried to shut it down 2 years ago. The lower court said you can't do that, and today the Supreme Court agreed with those decisions. So DACA remains on the books. You're right, you have to re-up every year. So it continues on, but it, of course, has always been a temporary program, and the government at any time could try to end it. If the Trump administration were to try again, of course, we'd go back into court and it would be another couple of years. So DACA is certainly going to last for another couple of years.
Pete Williams from our nation's capital. Pete, thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, now it's time to check in with Russ Mitchell to see what else is making news at this hour. Hi there, Russ.
Hey there, Betsy. A new book by former White House National Security Advisor John Bolton is getting a lot of attention today. The book gives a scathing account of the Trump presidency and includes claims that the president asked Chinese President Xi to help in his re-election. It also says President Trump was willing to intervene in criminal investigations of foreign adversaries. President Trump last night called Bolton a liar. Despite a fight from the White House, that book is set to be officially released on Tuesday. Some sad news from the Kennedy family this evening. Jean Kennedy Smith died at her home in Manhattan yesterday. The sister of President Kennedy was the last of the children of Joe Sr. and Rose Kennedy still alive. Smith was the former ambassador to Ireland and played a role in the Northern Ireland peace process. Jean Kennedy Smith was 92 years old. And more than 1.5 million filed for unemployment last week. This is the 13th consecutive week that jobless claims hit the million mark, rather past the million mark. The newest data shows that the number of Americans qualifying for ongoing benefits is now around 20.5 million. So those numbers keep climbing, Betsy, certainly.
Right, and folks are getting back into the swing of things. Things are opening up, including the casinos that we mentioned in the last half hour. And Jay has now called me Lady Luck because of this that you are about to see.
Okay.
Yes, Russ. We dug deep and we found the picture. I say it's December 13th of 2012 that I had $5 in my pocket. And I sat down at the 2-cent slot machine, and on the third button push, the bells went off, and I went, what does that mean? And my friends around me, including Russ Mitchell, who was present, said, you won. And that was the reaction. First time I played a slot machine.
That is something. Boy, we have quite the crack team that found that from 2012. I am impressed.
That's right. Nothing gets by us, certainly.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you use your winnings to buy us anything either, but it's all good.
I think I paid for parking, or at least part of it, because I think it was only a couple bucks that I won. But
that is fantastic. Excellent.
From the vault. All right. Thank you, Russ. Appreciate it. All right, well, once the coronavirus pandemic hit Northeast Ohio, as we move on, we made it our mission to collect 10,000 masks to help the Cleveland Food Bank and all of its volunteers. And boy, did you deliver. We collected more than 13,000 masks. Here's a look at what a difference so many of you have helped to make.
The goal was big. 10,000 masks. We knew we couldn't do it alone, so we put out a big ask to our WKYC viewers. Please help us sew. And you delivered. We've been collecting masks for more than a month now, and now we've surpassed our goal. I made a promise at the beginning of this journey that I'd personally pick up large donations. So this week, I hopped in the car and I put in a lot of miles covering Northeast Ohio.
410 is awesome! Wow!
Our friends at the food bank really appreciate your help. We talked to them today about what all of your hard work means to them.
To be able to provide these masks to staff, to our partner agencies, has been so incredibly helpful. It has allowed our partners to stay open. We're so grateful for the support of our community. It's really unbelievable.
Where will all of these masks go?
Almost 1,100 programmatic partners across 6 counties. And they were so excited. They loved the patterns. They thought they were fashionable. And it was really, it was so interesting to see like those masks put a smile on those volunteers' faces because they could stay open.
So thank you everyone for sewing and the materials and everything. It does make a big difference. I've had some people ask if they could still keep making masks, and absolutely, this was the kickstart to make sure that these food pantries were able to stay open. Now we want to help them along. So anybody who wants to continue donating masks to the food bank, they will be greatly appreciated. So thank you. All right, still ahead. It does pay to be nice. What one fan did that scored her a jacket from Lady Gaga. Well, how about that? And then speaking about the weather, jacket weather, probably not necessary, although some rain jackets might be needed from time to time. We do need the rain, and we're going to be talking about more of it in our forecast straight ahead. Jay?
And Betsy, it is time for our pop quiz. Today is National Go Fishing Day. The shark is the largest fish in the world. Which type of shark is the biggest among them? Basking shark, hammerhead shark, or whale shark? Think about it. We'll tell you the answer when we come back. All right, you've been thinking about this through the break. Here's the answer to our pop quiz. We asked which type of shark is the biggest, and the answer is C. I think the name gave it away. Whale shark. It can grow more than 50 feet long, weighs several ton. The second largest shark, in case you were wondering, is the basking shark, which can grow up to 40 feet long. And now you know. And from our pop quiz to pop break, one of the funniest women in the world now has another title, and Lady Gaga is a giving soul. Brandon Simmons in for Stephanie tonight, and he has your daily pop break.
Hilly Holbrook herself has spoken out on the controversy surrounding the popular film The Help. In an interview with the LA Times, Bryce Dallas Howard, who played the bigoted housewife in the 60s-era Southern film, said she would not do the movie again today, and acknowledged that the story was, quote, created by predominantly white storytellers, end quote. Just last week, one of the film's other stars, Viola Davis, said that she regrets starring in the film and said, quote, at the end of the day, it wasn't the voice of maids that were heard, end quote. Wow. Surprise, Kristen Wiig is a mom. A source confirmed to Us Weekly that the comedian and former SNL cast member welcomed twins via surrogate with her fiancé, filmmaker and director Avi Rothman. Although Wiig's representatives have yet to comment, Page Six caught the family of four out for a walk in Los Angeles earlier this week. The funny lady just recently hosted an at-home Mother's Day episode of Saturday Night Live and even thanked her own mom for helping her to prepare for motherhood. How did we miss that? Congratulations to them.
Being kind is the most powerful thing that we can do.
And clearly Lady Gaga believes that. Earlier this week, while out in Los Angeles, Gaga gave away the jacket she was wearing to a fan who complimented her on it. Shannon McKee told the Today Show that in addition to complimenting the singer's clothes, she also shared her story of how Gaga's music helped her best friend and her brother come out. Gaga told McKee that she wasn't really into taking photos, and that's when she took off her jacket and handed it over as a forever keepsake. That's pretty awesome. And I have more big news to share with you, this courtesy the Kardashian family. It appears that Kim Kardashian may have broken her sister Kourtney's strict no candy rule for her kids. Now, this is some serious stuff we're talking about. Kim apparently babysat Kourtney's oldest son, Mason, this week. And based on Kim's IG post, it looks like the sweets were flowing pretty heavy. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this one very closely, because this is the kind of stuff that could tear a family apart. Or maybe not really. I don't know. It seems like aunts and uncles, Jay, are the ones that kids always go to when they're looking for sweet treats, and even grandparents too. So, I mean, maybe it won't tear the family apart, but still interesting stuff.
As an uncle, that's your role. You know, when mom isn't looking, you slip them another cookie. Nothing too harsh, but I can understand if it was an absolutely no sweets rule, the last thing you want to do is introduce it to them, especially if they haven't had them yet, because once you get the taste, it's a wrap. You can't keep it away. Can't keep them away from it.
Yeah, it's over with.
All right, we'll label this Candygate, and I'm sure you'll be on it and let us know what's going on there. Brandon, thanks. We appreciate it. Time to get another check of the weather, and for that we go to Betsy. Betsy, you have little ones. How do you address the sweets rule? Do you monitor or none at all?
Time out. Backtrack.
Time out.
Because you totally gave the uncle analysis. You did not give the J-pop analysis. You are in a new demographic, Grandpa. So what would Grandpa do?
See, I haven't had that opportunity yet because I haven't even seen my granddaughter face to face. Now, I can tell you this. I wouldn't want to completely break mom's rules, but I might bend them a little bit.
But that means you're totally going to break mom's rules.
Just a little. I'll bend them a little bit. Just a touch. That's our role, right? We get to spoil, and then we give them back.
You'll have to take a note from my grandfather, who I called Grumps, who would magically make candy appear just as we were leaving their house to go home. So that was a real smart move.
I love that. It's a brilliant move, actually.
Well, let's talk about this weather, because it is kind of an ice cream evening, right? Beautiful evening to get out and maybe have some ice cream outside. We do have a few isolated showers, especially south. Temperatures in the 70s, but if you're out on the patios, It's beautiful. Just keep an eye on the radar, and there it is right now. You can see there are just a few showers around. A couple interesting things to note. These little pops have been coming up across the lakeshore counties, but by and large, the better chances for the rain and thunderstorms have remained south of Cleveland. That's closer to where there's an upper level storm system going on to the south of us. But also notice this line right here. That's the lake breeze, and that's where that cool air coming in off of the lake is meeting up with the warmer air coming in from the east. So that little bit of a boundary may help to pop some showers up, and you can see we're starting to get just a little tiny bit of development there. So that's what I'll be keeping an eye on here for the next hour, because I have nothing else to do in my life. But you can see that for the most part, this is not anything severe. These are just some much needed scattered showers, and look at that little blip right there. Ha ha, North Royalton, you lucky dogs. You get that little shower. But farther south, just getting into the east end of Holmes County now, little thunder shower, and then also on the southern portion of Stark County, a little shower just to the southwest of Minerva. That's going to continue to move westbound as well. Temperatures are 80s north, but we have rain-cooled air farther south where we're in the 70s. All of us getting back into the thick of things with the humidity, and the humidity will continue to climb in the coming days. There's our upper-level storm system. It's a pretty cool thing to see on the satellite and radar, how it circulates here. We'll find this opening up and starting to dissolve itself as we go through the next 48 hours, just in time for a few disturbances to work their way in. So we aren't getting out of the rain forecast completely. Matter of fact, we're probably going to end up with a little bit more. Tomorrow, we are going with a northerly wind at 6 knots on the nearshore waters of Lake Erie. That's not really a lot to get chopped going, so a nice day for boating out there. And tomorrow, I think we're going to be right back into the 80s, most of the low 80s, anywhere from 80 to 83 degrees, partly cloudy skies, the isolated rain chances, kind of like today. Notice that the temperatures of the forecasters stay in the 70s, but again, I think we're going to manage to make it into the low 80s with those pop-up shower chances. Universal Windows Direct Forecast has us back into the mid-80s for the start of summer on Saturday. Mostly sunny skies. Should be a beautiful day for the solstice. If you're going out to Lakewood to the solstice steps, just make sure you plan on parking far, far away, because there's going to be a ton of people out there. But that is a wonderful place to watch the sunset on the solstice, because they have these really cool lines in the pavement, and you can see exactly where that sun is going to set. Northernmost sunset we will have for the year. Then on Sunday, the heat is on. There's your summer forecast with storms popping up in the afternoon and the evening. And as I mentioned, a few disturbances around. That's going to hang out early next week. So if you need the rain, and we do need the rain, our best chances for more widespread rain and rumble chances will be coming in early next week. Jay?
All right, Betsy, very good. Thanks. As you probably know by now, the Forget-Me-Not Telethon is happening right now. We are helping the APL raise money so they can take care of the animals that come into their facility. We're live there next with what you can do to help. And our Worth the Watch is absolutely adorable.
Where is it? I don't see it.
He's looking.
That dog knows something special's about to happen. About to be reunited with his owner after 2 years apart. You don't want to miss that video. It's coming up.
No.
Check.
Check.
I got you.
This year marks the 9th Forget-Me-Not telethon. Now, each year, 3 News will team up with the Cleveland APL to help raise money to care for their animals. So Joe Crodauer is there. And Joe, how's it been going today? You've been out there all day long.
Betsy, it's a different world because we're normally inside with phone banks and about 25 people answering the phones. The phones are still working, but they're all separated and people are volunteering, but it's just a different world because we're outside the whole time. So we really don't know how totals are coming in, but we do know donations are incredibly low because the APL hasn't been allowing people to come in because of the COVID-19 situation. And Aisha joins me, who's the Senior Director of Operations. Aisha, you know as well as I do how the need is greater now than ever before.
Absolutely. We weren't having people come in, but animals were still coming in, animals in need. Here we have Scraps, who's a senior boy. He's 12 years old. He needed a lot of medical care, and we were able to provide that because of donations that came to us from the community. But we need that to continue because the animals keep coming in that also have, unfortunately, quite a bit of expense that come with them.
If you can imagine a doggy bank, not a piggy bank, but a doggy bank, it's really low. Their donations are so low right now. So please, if you're watching, we invite you to give as much as you can. And our friends from Cargill are matching right now. So you give 20, they'll give another 20. It's 40. You give 100, 200. We also have to meet this little kitty cat.
Yes, this cat is the best cat ever. I hope that we get, there he comes. And this is the other side of the spectrum. This is a young cat. He's only 1. And he had a really rare condition which made his nasal cavity was obstructed and he couldn't breathe. So the quality of life is just terrible. But we were able to give him the specialty surgery that he needs. You can see he looks wonderful now. And because of donations, he's going to have a tremendous quality of life.
Well, donations can be given 3 different ways. We're so psyched about this. You can text APL to 743-725. You can go clevelandapl.org, or you can call 866-392-PETS. Betsy, back to you. It is just so awesome to be a part of this again, and it's great to see your face.
Oh, thank you. It's great to see you, and of course, all those wonderful pets out there. And many thanks to the APL for saving their lives, because they wouldn't be around otherwise. So hopefully they get to go to some good families. All right, thanks, Joe and friends. Well, we are all about pets today, and now you get the chance to see what happens with this dog when he reunites with his owner. The two had been separated for 2 years. This is so cute.
Still got you. Hey, mic check. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
I am. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. Great.
All right, time to wrap up this edition of What's New, and this is going to be the best video you watch all day, I promise. Betsy, this is Twix. He was missing for 2 years. His owner thought he had died, but thanks to his microchip, the two were reunited in Mobile, Alabama this week, and here's the moment they saw each other for the first time again.
Yeah, go ahead and bring him out. He's hearing you. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Aww.
2 years is a long time, Bets, and I'm not sure who's happier, the dog or the owner, but I'm happy watching it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's so great. And, you know, she was probably all prepared emotionally, like, oh, you know, it's my dog, and I see him. But then when you actually get to see him and touch him, what a great reunion. That's so cool.
It really was cool. I can't even imagine being without my dog for 2 years and then being reunited. Pretty cool. That's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for watching. We certainly invite you to join us again tomorrow at 5 o'clock for our Friday edition of What's New.
Yeah, please do that. We would love to have you along with us. Right now, What Matters Most with Russ and Laura begins.
We're going to see hot spots. We're going to